Welcome to the M2 podcast. This is a show where we cover gaming industry related news for the week. We're talking about topics of esports personalities, a little bit of gaming industry related news just in general, new and upcoming games, and technology and innovation in gaming space. So without further ado, I'm your host, Michael Anstey, my co-host, Mr. J.K. Heath, Kyle Heath, my man. What have you been up to this last week?
Oh, dude, what have I been up to? You already
Yes,
know I've
sir.
been playing Hogwarts Legacy. I don't even need to get into that.
Oh,
Bro, this is the thing.
snap.
I was like thinking about it the other day. I was like, we're coming up on a month this game's been out. This is how busy I've
Yes.
been, all right? I got like 20, I think 24 hours in at this point. But that's it across a month. So, it's been
That's like basically nothing.
yeah.
So
like,
you've had a lot of like personal stuff going on?
yeah,
Keeping you busy?
personal stuff, vacations, work stuff,
Oh, yeah.
just a lot of just life, I guess, As
Mhm.
as you say, as you get older, just life. It's got stuff going
Gets in the
on.
way.
So, and yeah, it's so funny too. I saw a video. I think it was from Game Ranks, and it was like, and it was talking about like the difficulty it is to find like game time whenever you're like employed. It's kind of like it was going through like the top 6 like when you're employed gaming like hurdles and stuff that you have to face. And like
Oh, yeah.
one of them was so true in the fact that like when like and sometimes for me this is why I struggle to play games is like you'll finally have time to play, but then you'll get on and then you're just suddenly riddled with anxiety of like, okay, is everything done? Do I need to do other
Oh,
stuff?
yeah.
Like is there stuff I'm missing from work? Like it's just like, and you just can't like get into it, but then you have to like force yourself and then you're like in a rhythm. So
Yeah, that's super relatable.
yeah, I know
Like,
it's
I've
like,
had to go through that plenty of times.
yeah, it's just like you're sitting there and you're like, should I be doing something else? So that's like, I don't know. That was one probably the point I related to the most. But yeah. Anyway, it's just kind of funny thing. Like it's been good to like have time to game and stuff like that. But it's been a lot of Hogwarts Legacy. I've been 24 hours in at this point. I'm still very much enjoying the game, which is good. Like it hasn't gotten stale. So, yeah, I don't know. I love the loop. I love the fact that like like playing this game makes me want to eventually try out Witcher 3, even though I know the combat's going to be very different and there's a
Yeah.
lot of stuff that I feel like could like pull me out. But it's just like just the story alone, I've heard, the
Yeah,
best thing.
yeah,
So
I know you well enough to know that you're very like story driven when it comes
yeah,
to video games. If there's a good story, you'll play it no matter what.
yeah,
And Witcher 3, The Wild Hunt, I mean, dude, that's well regarded as like I would argue is probably one of the best games of the modern era.
yeah,
Maybe like top 3 ever.
yeah. I mean, that's what I've
Like
heard too.
in terms
So
of content, it's amazing. It's so good.
yeah, best RPG, arguably, I guess amongst RPG
Yeah.
fans. So and I don't know. I mean, this Hogwarts Legacy just reminds me how consuming an RPG is, but how fun it is just to like have plenty to do and like the gameplay loop hasn't like gotten stale yet. So like I don't know. For me, that's very enjoyable. Yeah. So I don't know. I'm playing a lot of that. I trying to think if I had much time to play anything else really. It's just kind of like if I have time to game, it's been like dedicated to that because I want to finish it. But I also like want it to last. So I'm just like I'm just like, doing everything I can and just like taking it all in. And it's been a breath of fresh air. But we have a lot of games coming out soon. So,
Yeah.
I gotta wrap this up, sometime
That's
soon.
a fact.
You know what I mean? And I have a trip at the end of the month too, so it's like, can I wrap it up before then, hopefully? But yeah, so that's been all my gaming time. Saw the second to last episode of Last of Us. I also saw that the ratings behind it, I think it was up like 75% from the premiere, like the series premiere. So like that's how this series is doing. It's still like breaking records and
So amazing.
pulling numbers, but it's really good. So yeah, last episode's Sunday, and I don't know how I feel about it because it's so good. But yeah,
Well, both you and I know how it's going to end.
Right.
Do you think it's going to be a 2-hour episode?
No, and see, I was actually going to mention that because I'm pretty sure I saw a tweet somewhere, and this really surprised me. But it was a tweet. I think it said it only had like a 45-minute runtime. It's like one of the shortest episodes they're doing, which made like no
Really?
sense to me. I was like, really? Like only 45? Like,
There's like a lot that's supposed to happen in like a final episode less than 45 minutes.
yeah, no. And it's like
So there's
every
going to be a huge
yeah.
time jump.
I mean, I feel like there's probably gonna either be stuff they like, just take out, or maybe it's
Yeah,
just
for
like
sure.
I'm just thinking it was like that last like because this is like the spring section. I guess I'm thinking that the last spring section wasn't as long as I remembered it, but then again, there's a lot of stuff that cause there was a lot of points in this series so far where it's like we get to that point in the game and I'm like, dang, like we got there kind of quick. But then like you look back at like gameplay and it's like, okay, yeah, there was a lot of like filler and like,
That's a
fighting
good
and
point.
having to be a video game for lack of a better way of saying it.
Yeah.
So like they kind of just take all that out in the series, which is great. But yeah, it's I have a feeling that's probably going to be like there's going to be a lot of that gameplay element that's going to be taken out, hence why it's so short. But it's still like I saw that 45-minute runtime and it's like, dude, I only got 45 more minutes of this. Like I was hoping for like over an hour, but yeah.
Yeah, it actually might it might make sense because there's not a whole lot of stuff that's really gonna happen because like you said, it's a filler, it's supposed to be a video game. The whole aspect of where they're trying to go to and where they're traveling, you're coming into all the different types of creatures that are trying to kill you.
Yeah.
I'll call them creatures because they're not like zombies.
Right.
Monsters? Infected? Infected.
Yeah. Infected
Infected is
is what
probably
they
the
call
best
it.
term.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like it's probably not appropriate to have multiple episodes of them just being chased the whole time,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Or like fighting. Cause like I was, and like, well, crazy tangent, but like I was watching some of the gameplay, like, after the first like couple episodes just to like place myself, like, okay, like where are we in the story kind of thing. And when I was watching it, like I was watching just like, those like cinematic cuts where people just do the cutscenes in just one long video. Like I was
Yeah.
watching one of those and they actually had some gameplay sequence weaved into it. So it kind of gave context. And like I remember there's a lot of sequences where Joel was like fighting, like raiders or like other humans, and there wasn't as much of that in the TV series that I noticed. So, and there's definitely like different ways they approached a lot of the storytelling to fit like a TV narrative. So, yeah, I have a feeling there's probably gonna be a lot they kind of work around and weave out in the finale. But I mean, nevertheless, still looking forward to it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. Like the story works perfectly. You have all the context that you need to understand it without playing the games or reading
Yeah,
any types of books or like any stories written about the games to make it work. But it's definitely on the verge of falling into that aspect of like you need external resources and reference points to fully understand the characters and like where they are and what kind of world they're actually in.
yeah,
Because we only get really glimpses of the infected, of
right,
like
yeah,
what they're truly like capable of. Um, I think the big moment was when they're trying to escape. I think it's Oklahoma City in the TV show, but it's supposed to be
Well, it's
Chicago or
no,
something.
it's Kansas City in the TV show. It's
Pittsburgh.
supposed to be, yeah, I think
Pittsburgh.
it was, yeah, Pittsburgh.
I
Yeah, I
I
think.
think so. But like the when you see them all break loose from underground and it looks like World War Z level
Yeah,
like infected,
yeah.
like crazy like Resident Evil or what's that the rage virus from 28 days later.
Oh
It's like
yeah,
it was like that level of intensity. So yeah, but I think it makes sense so far. I'm pretty much looking forward to it, but I'm kind of shocked that it's only 45 minutes like you are. I think it should be
yeah,
longer.
yeah. I know. I read that and was a little confused, but I think they'll have a tight way of telling it. So see,
Yeah.
see you on Sunday. It's the last one. It's crazy. It's already over, but season two
Facts.
is probably going to be another 2 years until we see it, which is unfortunate. But I mean, this because like I like thinking about just production wise. I mean, it took them a year just to film this, like just filming it, and then like post was only like 6 months. Like it's kind of crazy. It's oftentimes like the other way around, but like it took them
No,
so long to film this.
they were using different seasons, remember?
Yeah,
So
and
they like
they
they
yeah
filmed the last episode where in like Wyoming or wherever the freaking tundra is in the United States, like North
yeah
Dakota.
yeah. I think a lot of it was in Canada, like Calgary. I think or like up there, like
Oh yeah,
um
that makes sense.
or Alberta maybe. I don't know, it's up there in Canada, Canada.
Canadians,
Yeah. So.
true.
But yeah, good series. Anyway, I didn't even ask you what you did. I don't think. Which is
Oh,
we might.
I'll do a speed run so we can get into the news. Okay.
Yep.
Um, personal stuff. Car got broken into. That was a shame. But new
Bruh.
tech. I got GPS stuff in my car. Nothing was taken. The car wasn't stolen. Windows replaced. Yeah, broken in the window. replaced, no issues. It is what it is. But I got a GPS tracker in there, and it like lets me know if the car is like broken into, if the car is turned on, if the car moves, if there's vibrations. Like if somebody hits my car, I'll be notified, and it only costs me like
Hey,
$10 a month. So to me, yes, it's $120 a year, but that's a heck of a lot cheaper than the window.
yep,
So
true.
that's like the meta or the mindset. Unfortunately, I was doing well. This is fortunate, but unfortunately. So the fortunate part is I did Halo Infinite 20. I know you might roast me for it because I said I wouldn't play Halo Infinite again, but I signed up for the tournament before Charlotte. It got pushed back.
I see.
Um, our team was absolutely stacked. We didn't drop a single game. We won that tournament. But during the tournament, my upstairs neighbor flooded their laundry room and it went down into my room. No
Bruh.
damages. No damages. I caught it quick. I mopped it up. I got like towels, everything. And it's all cleaned up. We got a fan and everything running. But it's been a week, man. It's been a week, but good. Like let's go on a positive note before we really jump into the first article and a lot of games that I'm super excited for. Um, I'm playing old games again on an emulator. I found out maybe like 2 or 3 days ago. I might have found out before, but I never really like thought it was going to be easy. You can turn the Xbox Series S and X into an emulator to play your old games. So what I've been doing is going and burning the old CDs for the GameCubes, for the Wii's and Xbox 360. Admittedly, some of the Xbox 360 games you can still play backwards compatible on the Series X, but you can use emulators and play those games, and you can also set them up so you can play online. So it's like madness. I've heard reports that people are playing N64 games online, and I want to see how that works.
That's
But
nuts.
I'm mostly excited for like Super Smash and most importantly, Mario Party. Mario Party is going to be the big one that I wanna have set up and really, like, connect with old friends that had those games when we were in high school
Yeah.
and get that stuff going together again.
Yeah.
But
This sounds rad. So like my only question is
yes.
if you downloaded all these emulators on these Xbox consoles, does it remove the ability to use the Xbox console how it was originally intended?
No,
Okay.
it does
There you
not.
go. See that sells me
So
even more right there.
yeah. So there are 2 different versions that you can get for the emulators. One is in a developer setup, or the other one is in retail. So, developer mode on the Xboxes, you would have to pay, I think it's $20 a month or something like that. You basically turn your Xbox Series X and S into a dev kit, specifically for developers to develop games
Yeah.
and like test themselves. And it's cheaper than doing a proper like dev kit that actually developers use,
Yeah.
but I think it's a dev account that you have to have. It gives you like almost borderline BIOS level access to your console. Completely legal. You pay Microsoft for that ability. The other way is that these guys that develop all the different emulators, they put the games that are compatible with your console onto the Microsoft Store and you can download it from there.
Interesting.
So
Okay.
yeah. From everything I've read, emulators 100% legal. So, I downloaded those
Okay.
guys and, I loaded up like Sonic Adventure 2 Battle,
Oh,
Battle
bro.
whatever, and, Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 3,
Yes,
which
sir.
we're gonna be talking about later
Ah.
is, spoiler. I'm very excited about that. That's like all-time one of my favorite games, and just like some throwbacks too, man. Very much looking forward to it. Another thing is I bought a new cable that works with my, guitar for Rocksmith. So that's the
Dude.
goal. I'm gonna get that.
Yo, it's so funny
Yeah.
you say that because I literally is like I want to start looking into that soon because I downloaded Rocksmith a
Rocksmith?
long time ago, but like I just
Mhm.
didn't have the proper cable for my guitar. But like I really like
Oh.
been wanting to do that. I think it might be the time soon. So it's funny you mentioned that.
Do you have it on Steam or console? Is
Steam.
that okay, you're gonna wanna double check because I had the Steam version and they rolled out some type of update. This is Ubisoft, right? They rolled up some type of update that ruined the game, and there's no support for the game anymore.
Yikes.
So if you have the update, then it's not gonna work properly. But they give you the ability to roll it back to like a beta format where you can still play
Interesting.
it.
Okay. I'll have to look
So
into that if I actually want to do it then.
yeah. Yeah, it was like $5 to $10 at my local like Goodwill,
Yeah.
the Rocksmith, and I was like, yeah, okay, easy. I already have the cable. The guitar's right here. I don't know if anybody's ever noticed it. I
No.
also have a guitar. I have a guitar. Well, I almost grabbed that camera, but I have a guitar over here on the wall hanging up. So I'm like, dude, I got to start getting back into something.
No, there you go.
But
There
but
you
I feel like
go.
we've been ranting too long.
Too long.
Let's like we've been ranting for a good 15 minutes. So let's like jump in to the stories and just keep it moving for the rest of them.
I think we should too. Yeah, we're gonna start off. Got some announcements, some game showcase announcements, huh? It's that time of
Yes,
year,
sir.
Mike. Even though it's pretty much year round up until June, there's like announcements I feel like for stuff. But Microsoft confirms that they are that this year's Xbox Game Showcase will be airing on the 11th of June. This is just ahead of E3. This is from Eurogamer, Matt Wales, the GOAT. He wrote that Microsoft has announced it'll be holding this year's Xbox Game Showcase on the 11th of June. That isn't, of course, particularly surprising news. Microsoft has long favored the pre-E3 Sunday slot for its big announcement showcase, and it's one it's clinging onto even after reports that they won't be participating in this year's E3. As to the specifics of the showcase, Microsoft isn't saying much right now, only that it'll run ahead of a special Starfield-focused direct at some currently unspecified time, which we will be reporting on next article, because there's updates on that. But understandably, Microsoft has been focusing on its more immediate slate of releases in recent times, namely the next Forza Motorsport installment, Redfall, Starfield. And with launches of all those titles now on the horizon, it'll hopefully be turning its attention to some long-announced first-party games we haven't heard much from in a while. These include the initiative's spin on Perfect Dark, Obsidian's Avowed, which I think Avowed was that like if I'm not mistaken, that was like the RPG that they like teased. And it's like we didn't see much of, but it's like Obsidian RPG, and everyone's like, I think that's I could be completely wrong.
No, you're correct. It's gonna be on Unreal Engine 5 by Xbox Game Studios. It is an RPG. They just the fact that it's by Obsidian, it gets a lot of like hype.
Yeah,
But
right.
overall, it's kind of been showcased back in July 2020, but we don't know very much information about it outside of that.
Yeah. Anyways, hopefully we'll hear something about that. Ninja Theory's Hellblade 2. Hear some more about that. Playground Games' highly anticipated Fable reboot, which as I feel like
That's
we've been
gonna be
talking about for
wild.
years and years and years at this point. And like, I
Yeah.
want to hear some more stuff on that. Because yeah, I mean, Fable, come on, dude. You play Fable 3? Because I played it for like 10 minutes. It was the best 10 minutes of my life, let me tell you, Mike. But anyway, so Fable reboot could be more info on that. Will any of these, or indeed the Sea of Thieves Monkey Island crossover, I'm currently attempting to will into existence. Monkey Island is one of those weird things. Like I saw like Return to Monkey Island happen recently. That's like a huge like thing. I never played Monkey Island, so I don't know. I need to see what the hype's about. But anyway, but yeah, will any of these actually surface on the showcase? I mean, this is stuff I would love to see that's actually going to happen. Who knows? As for E3 itself, and again, just a reminder, E3 is from June 13th to 16th. So this is 2 days before the actual showcase starts. And again, Microsoft isn't technically going to be there. Neither is Nintendo or Sony.
Neither's
or
PlayStation. Yeah, Sony.
like anybody. I feel like so. Yeah. I mean, this certainly, but just hearing that there still is a showcase of some sort is always exciting. I'm glad that we're still keeping these like going, even though there's no tie-in directly to E3, and it kind of just shows like, because like because I know for me, like my immediate first thoughts is when it's like, okay, E3 is like not happening, or E3 is like just like kind of, or like these companies aren't going to be at E3. You immediately think, okay, are there going to be showcases? Because like if they're not going to be at E3, what's the point? But I mean, it's clear that it's just these companies they're so big at this point that they just do their own thing. They don't have to be tied to E3 and anything like that, or like Summer Games Fest. So yeah, I mean, it's always going to be interesting to see this. I think last year's like showcases, we kind of agreed they were good, but it's not like but I think we both came to the consensus of like it's going to be probably like this year, next year's, and 2025s that are going to be like this is
Oh
where it's going
yeah,
to start
the
getting
big
amazing,
ones.
especially after
Oh,
Unreal Engine
100%.
5 has been like cooking and brewing. Like this is where we're going to start seeing some heat. So yeah, it's certainly exciting nonetheless. But I mean, I don't know. Are you ready for the 11th of June, Mike? Ready for that Sunday?
Yeah, well, I'm ready for pretty much the entire month of June, just in general. Um, Being in the northern hemisphere, it's gonna be nice. But in terms of video game E3 and all these other showcases that are coming out, dude, it's gonna be great. I think across the board. The one thing that's got me arguably the most excited is the fact that they're mentioning Perfect Dark and possibly bringing that back.
Yeah,
It's just little games like that that are throwbacks are going to be very successful. It's like obviously Redfall looks pretty good, and then Starfield that's been so hyped up. And next article being Starfield, it's like hopefully, hopefully all these games have a successful, I guess, demo premiere in a way
yeah.
that isn't broken on release. Like,
I
but
mean,
but
yeah,
we we did go into your point about what we were theorizing on was how COVID and the lockdown has basically pushed everything back a couple of years, and we're about one full year out of normalcy and like air quotes here. But next year we're probably going to see some like pretty serious games, and along with the new entry of Unreal Engine 5, it's like, dude, there's going to be some serious potential for really, really good games coming out
yeah.
where we can like really utilize the hardware that we've had for so long.
Yeah. I mean, dude, 2-3 years in the oven, right? I mean, it's gonna be pretty much
That's
Unreal Engine
crazy.
5 is gonna be like
It
it's been
is.
cooking for 2 years, So I think we'll start seeing like more the capabilities of like the newer upcoming titles and
Hmm.
yeah, dude. It's exciting stuff, man. I ain't gonna lie.
It's gonna be good. It's gonna be real good.
Yeah. I don't know. We've been talking about Starfield so much, Mike. Is it time?
I Yeah. Let's go ahead and get into Starfield.
Get it?
So this article is from Video Game Chronicles. It is Starfield. Well, first of all, it's from Jordan Midler.
Jordan
This is the
Midler.
first article I think we read by Jordan Midler,
I think so. Yeah,
perhaps.
he's a pretty credible video game journalist too, so it's interesting it
Yeah,
took
like
us this
yeah,
long.
I know who he is. Yeah. It's kind of surprising, but anyways, so this is about Starfield. The article's title is Starfield release is delayed until September and showcase scheduled for June. The game was initially planned to release during the first half of the year. So, in an announcement video published on Wednesday, Bethesda confirmed that the game, which was initially planned to release in the first half of this year, will now arrive September 6th. That's a holy crap, that's like 6 months, man. The publisher also confirmed that Starfield Direct live stream will take place on Sunday, June 11th.
Who would have thought? It's
Who
Microsoft
would have
C3
thought?
day. It's Microsoft Showcase
Man,
day.
100%. So here we go. Bethesda owner Microsoft also confirmed that the Xbox Game Showcase will take place on Sunday, June 11th, prior to the Starfield show. This would place it on the weekend Summer Games Fest and E3 2023.
So funny.
So this
It's
is
the
from
weekend
time.
between. Sorry to cut you off, but like it's the weekend Summer Games Fest, E3. They're just like
Yeah,
shoehorning in between it. So like we don't want to be a part of any of this. We're
100%.
just gonna. We're just
100%.
here.
Yes. They're like, yeah, we're gonna build all the hype around E3 and like Summer Games Fest, but by the way, we're gonna do our own thing. Screw you. Enjoy it. So, Todd Howard, the man from Bethesda himself, he said, "From myself and everyone here at Bethesda, we are so excited to finally tell you when Starfield is coming out this year. We have poured ourselves into this game, and even I'm surprised how much we can pour. It is large." Howard also referenced the Starfield Direct, which is scheduled to take place in June during the traditional thought of as E3 week. And he continues on, Todd Howard. But also this June, we're going to bring you into the studio and give you a deep dive into the game at our Starfield Direct. There's so much that we still have to show you. So, Starfield was originally scheduled for release on November 11th, 2022. However, in May of 2022, the game was delayed until the first half of 2023. And now it has been delayed until September 6th. So, how do you feel about this one, Kyle? Are we raising red flags? Was the promise too big? Are they worried about doing another Fallout 76, releasing broken, half-baked promises, getting absolutely hooked in the reviews and online and the Twitters? What's your take?
Dude, you already know they're terrified they're gonna get another Fallout
Oh,
76. You already know. I mean, come on.
100%, yeah.
That was so bad. Like everything they put out, it'll take a couple games before those nerves probably like go away. But like,
Oh, yeah.
it's
They can't
at
mess up.
least and like this one in particular, it's like they can't mess up. Like you need to make sure this is good. Um, am I raising red flags? No, not yet. I mean, if we're talking about another delay after this, then it's kind of like, all right, what's going on? That's when it's like I start getting worried. But like, I mean, this because they said delayed, and yeah, it is technically a delay because it was supposed to be the first half. But like, I mean, they also the fact that there wasn't a set date and it was first half and we're already halfway through, we didn't hear anything. I was fully anticipating there's going to be at least some sort of delay. Um, Frankly, I thought it was if there was a delay at all, it'd probably be like November. So the fact that it's September is actually, I think, kind of like it's like okay, it's not as bad as I anticipated, um, but it's this proves to me this thing they. I was almost gonna say they can delay it as much as they want because they need to do whatever they can to avoid the Fallout 76 happening again. So I mean,
Yeah.
I'm totally for this and I totally support it. It's weird. It's like we're gonna get this and football season's gonna start. It's gonna be a good September this year. That's all I'm saying. It's gonna be a good
As
one.
long as the teams are good.
Oh, we hope and pray. But yeah, I mean, I'm very much looking forward to this. I'm looking forward to the showcase. The fact that it's the same day and it seems like
Yeah.
I mean, it seems like the Xbox showcase is prior to this, so it's going to be before, and then we're getting the Starfield in depth. So that'll be pretty interesting. It'll be a lot to look at that day, so I'm very much excited for that. But yeah, I mean, from the gameplay we saw so far, I mean, it looked pretty decent. I'm very curious to see what they're going to show in the next one, how in depth they're going to get. I mean, yeah, but just from looking at it from an RPG aspect, I mean, it looked like a fun game from what I saw. So I'm very much looking forward to see what they're willing to tell us before the actual launch. So it seems like it's going to be the tell all on June 11th.
It really, yeah, it really might be. I think Bethesda can't mess up again. I mean, there's so many devs that we've said that like they can't mess up again, and then they do something worse over and over again. I think with the whole Fallout 76 and the way it launched and the disconnect between their development team, upper management, and marketing with
Yeah,
like the actual product of the game. The only like worst launch I've ever seen was Halo Master Chief Collection. That game was unplayable for like 2 years. Like
pretty
76
much.
actually became playable 9 to like 14 months kind of thing. It became
Yeah,
playable.
right.
But a little bit of context that we can add to this article is well, the article really continues on, is that the Todd Howard was speaking with Lex Friedman.
Yeah,
Friedman, I
Lex
think his
Friedman.
name.
Yeah,
Yeah, about 3 months ago. And he claimed the decision to delay Starfield was a tough one, but it was the right thing to do, is what he said in quotes. And that Bethesda was working with the top engineers at Xbox to make the game sing on consoles. So one of the things that had me interested with this is the fact that we've heard several times that there's reports from developers, like even on Twitter, saying that it's very difficult for them to develop for the Xbox Series X and then develop for the Xbox Series S. And they want to get rid of that completely, going to the Series S, and they want to get rid of going to the Xbox One X,
yeah,
just because it's not a good system for them to build on. I don't know exactly what the issues are. I think there's a difference in RAM, possibly CPU power, maybe graphics power,
yeah,
but there's obviously a major issue that the engineers at Xbox have done that make the devs hate designing for their consoles.
yeah,
And the fact that like Bethesda is now owned by Microsoft and they're essentially like building exclusivity for all their future games, that can be kind of a concern.
yeah. I mean, for sure. I look. I mean, I think it gets to a point where um, I think we're seeing games just outgrow the old technology, and it's like when you see it released, like, and like, don't get me wrong, there's like always limitations they can put in place if they actually take time on the older consoles to make sure they work.
Right.
But like, I mean, I can understand devs' frustrations with trying to, develop for multiple different platforms and trying to make it work on hardware that simply just, arguably shouldn't even like be relevant anymore. So it's
Yeah.
I could see it.
But we're talking about like the Series S,
Yeah.
you
Which
know?
is, which launched with the Series X, right? So it's like,
Yeah, yeah. It's supposed to
yeah.
be the cheaper version, and they promised it like the only difference being I believe the only difference was the storage capabilities and the resolution it can output at certain frames per second, right?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, that was the
I
main
think that
difference,
was the
right?
main. This was like GPU
Yeah.
and storage capacity.
Yeah.
But
I mean, yeah. I mean, to be honest, I mean, I could argue too that the whole Xbox Series S, like, let's get rid of that. I think that's ridiculous because it's like, come on, like they came out at the same time. I understand it's different hardware, but like,
yeah,
it shouldn't. Especially if you take the proper time to make the game, you should be able to work around the limitations of that console at least, at like a bare
yeah.
minimum.
At least I
Like,
understand rolling out the Xbox One, the Xbox One X.
yeah,
Even PlayStation 5 developers are having that issue. They're just like, we're not going to design for the PS4.
yeah,
Like, we're done with that completely.
yeah,
So
yeah,
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 it's a tough sell. There's a lot of Xbox Series S going around there. They're like $250 used, $300
yeah.
brand
They're cheap.
new. And when it comes to, well, sort of cheap, depends. But like the Xbox Series X is what, like $500 with a game and a controller?
Yeah, something like that.
So
Yeah,
450 maybe, like if you can get a crazy deal,
yeah,
Micro Center level deal.
yeah,
But it's a yeah, that's just basically my thought process on the whole situation.
yeah,
I'm most looking for hearing from the developers, seeing some actual footage, not this like in-game rendered footage. You know what they
yeah,
say?
yeah.
It's just like
Yeah, I think
I want to see somebody playing.
yeah, I mean, I think we saw an engine footage in the last one, and obviously the first thing all of like the Twitch chat was saying in the stream was like, "Oh, 20 FPS, lol," and they were just like dogging the
Yeah,
frames because apparently there were some framey parts. But
yeah,
I
they're
mean, I don't
super
know.
framey.
Yeah, and also, I just have to say, I didn't even say in my update, but when I was at like Walmart this past week, guess what I saw in the PlayStation section for once?
All PS5s.
I saw some PS5s in there. I was like, "Oh, look
Yeah,
at that PS5 right there!"
we
Like just
they
right
out
there,
here.
500 right there. Right
They really out here.
there. They're out, man. They're
Tell
out.
tell me this. I'm gonna slight roast, slight add on. How is it that I can play PS3, 2? I could probably play PS4, but PS3, 2, and 1, and on my Xbox Series X and S through emulation, but I can't do any of those games stock with the PS5.
Answer it, Sony.
That's
Come on.
I just found that out, and it like blew my mind. But
It's wild.
that's neither here nor there.
And you
Let's
want and Sony's complaining about COD exclusivity. Oh my gosh. You need to get your base
yeah.
settled first, dog. Like, come
What a segue.
on. What a
What a
segue, dude.
segue to talk about our favorite gaming division of Sony.
Yeah, man. All right. We have we have some posture patents like coming out of Sony here. Pulled this article from Sammy Barker at Push Square. Sony wants you to sit up straight while you're playing your PS5 and PS4. I mean, I feel like I probably could have told you that, but it's just proper posture. Um,
It's the right way to do it. You don't
yeah,
want sciatic issues like me.
and me, it's bad, it's bad. But yeah. So, anyways, a new PlayStation patent filed a few years ago was published this past week, and it hopes to fix your posture while you're playing, so no more slouching or slumping while you grind out your Fortnite quests. I didn't write that joke. That was the author. Um, the document's abstract, as spotted by Optac, explains a game intervention server may evaluate based on learning modules, posture, and physical motions for players for repetitive, unbalanced, and excessive motions, as well as gameplay quality patterns, and compare to thresholds for identifying unhealthy conditions. It's getting kind of crazy. He said, obviously, unless you're playing something like Pistol Whip or PSVR 2, you're probably playing your game sitting down. And you should probably know by now that extended periods in the same position aren't good for you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Aren't exactly good for
Aren't
you.
exactly good for you. Sony's patent proposes reminders to sit up straight and even hypothesizes systems that could potentially detect repetitive strain based on the buttons you're pressing and the way you're using the analog sticks, which I think is kind of wild. Like the fact that they're using just that such micro
Yeah.
level data to anticipate that.
Yeah, that makes sense though.
Yeah. Um, he says it's worth remembering that patents like this rarely get developed into full finished products, although we suppose it's important for a company like PlayStation to be looking out for the health of its players. We imagine if any of these technology ever got added to the PS5 or PS4, it remain optional, like those apps on sports watches that remind you to move after you've been stationary for a specific period of
Yeah.
time. My Apple Watch does that. Sometimes I listen, only sometimes. But yeah, I mean, I think it's interesting the fact that they're trying to use like controller input data to determine what type of position you're actually sitting in. And I mean, there could be some truth behind that, and there could be some theory there. I don't know, but
Yep.
do you think just based off controller like inputs alone, Mike, that these game companies could possibly help like remind you to like sit up and keep proper posture?
Yeah, but it probably had to be an extreme case. So, uh, hmm. I'm trying to think of all the different technology that's already in a controller to make it work. So, with PlayStation controllers, they're probably the most advanced controllers that you can buy from the major uh, console developers.
Yeah,
I think they're better than Xbox. They're definitely better than Nintendo. Um, and I think that's really the main two. First party is probably the term I was looking for. They have piezoelectric material and potentiometers in there that can basically figure out exactly how you're holding the controller in such a different way.
yeah,
And the strain on the joysticks, they can probably be measured too. And how hard you're pressing the buttons, how rapidly, like you basically have to add some pressure sensors in there. Maybe
yeah,
they already have it, but they also like this could also be tying into the fact that 2, 3 years ago? Yeah, I think it was about 3 years ago, PlayStation started putting in their privacy settings that if you had any type of report or a negative interaction with somebody through, voice chat, they would record that voice chat and then just send it to their, like, terms of service, their privacy and,
right,
like, prevention or whatever, like, threat prevention software. So maybe this could be kind of a breach of privacy, but if it's optional, then they can exclude it. It's definitely possible, I think.
yeah,
Uh, but at the same time, why do you? Every gamer knows that your posture is crap.
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's run of the
Do
mill,
you-
right? Yeah,
yeah, it's probably good for people because gaming's so mainstream now, and I think everybody kind of plays games. Sony is probably ahead of the curve. This might be the one time Sony's ahead of the curve.
maybe, yeah. Player health and safety. I
in,
mean,
in a long time, man.
yeah,
Seriously, a long time. I'm kind of for it only because I think it's probably necessary, man.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, I would agree. I think to a certain extent. I mean, they could certainly put up a pop up every now and again, be like, "Yo, like sit up straight." But
Yeah,
at the same time, it's like a lot of people would probably turn that off. I'm sure we probably
yeah,
80% of people would turn that off. But if there's, I
that's true.
mean, look, if there's a logical way they can detect that though through like controller positioning or like maybe like the sensitivity of inputs or like if there's heavy strain or if
Right.
there's not heavy strain, then like yeah, I mean, if there's a way they can determine that, yeah, I mean, I'm all for trying to help people remind them to like sit up straight because there's a lot of people if they like enable this or say they're playing in a certain position or they notice like the controller's like down in a weird way, there's a high likelihood they're probably like slouched, not really caring, and they're just forgetting
That's a
how they're
good point.
sitting, and so they get a reminder, and it's like, oh yeah, you know what? That's a good point, and then they sit up and they like get situated, and then they're back to gaming. So yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of good that can come out of this. But yeah, I mean, I mean, there's also just so many people that don't care. So I think Sony would certainly make it optional, and if people care about their health and do more research on like the effects of sitting, I think they'd probably be more
Yeah.
keen to having this enabled. So
Yeah, I think
mm,
ultimately this is just a patent, so it's trying to get ahead of the curve. I think the fact that this is probably most going to be used for people that are already health conscious that
yeah,
will actually use it. And just a couple of reminders of like, hey man, you've been playing games for 2 hours straight. Do you want to take a
yeah,
break?
yeah,
Because that's easily measurable. Like you can count, you can basically set a timer for whenever somebody like hits pause
yeah,
or like there are no inputs registered on your device.
Right.
and you
Yeah.
go idle, it's like, yeah, obviously they're probably out walking. Kind of like how Netflix is always yelling at you after you've
Yeah.
watched for like 2 hours straight. Are you still there?
Yeah.
Yes.
So yep. Like, um, yeah. I mean, there's always stuff like that. And yeah, there's things they could do, but yeah, I mean, I agree with you though. Like, props to Sony and PlayStation for trying to think outside the box a little bit and try and see what ways they can help player safety. That's not just like communication based. Like,
Facts.
so let's go, Sony. Let's go. I think it's time to talk about your favorite game, though, Mike. What do you say?
It's definitely one of my favorite animations
Whoa.
of all. So let's get into it. This one is by Games Radar Dustin Bailey. So after a decade surviving on mods, Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi fans are beyond excited for a new game. You hear that? We got a new game. Finally. It's been a decade. So this article, just to remind everybody, Dustin Bailey from Games Radar is written as a new entry in Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi series has been announced. And after more than a decade, supported only by community mods and nostalgia, I felt that in my core, fans are beyond excited to finally get a brand new game. Their first Budokai Tenkaichi launched on PS2 in 2005 and continued with two sequels released on PS2 and Wii in 2006 and 7. I played the one on the Wii with my buddy.
Okay. Okay.
That rhymed. So these were 3D arena-based fighting games with massive stages to brawl in and even bigger rosters to select from. If you ever wanted to pit Goku against characters as obscure as Popovich, they were your games. So I am super excited. So let me give
Okay.
people
Okay.
a rundown of what Budokai Tenkaichi is. If you ever played Dragon Ball Z Xenoverse, think of a fighting game that's 3D. So like take Tekken, give it Dragon Ball Z characters, they can fly, it's 3D and they can like zoom around the map and stuff.
Yeah.
And there's like crazy abilities that turn into like Mortal Kombat level where you like hit people and it launches them to the other side of the planet, sometimes through the planet. And
Dang.
it's insane, dude. It's such a
Hmm.
good fighting game.
I feel like I've seen this game before. I feel like I've had to have at some point seen gameplay of it. But
It's
jeez.
wild, man. So the big thing is this article that they basically like finish with it, or, like there's another paragraph here. It goes, that's why serious series fans has been subsisting whatever existing on mods for Budokai Tenkaichi 3, which is arguably the most popular one and most expensive one and most rare one if you're on the Wii, is for much of the past decade they've been doing this. So while console games aren't typically known for their modability, there are dozens, if not hundreds, of hacks for the PS2 game, adding everything from Dragon Ball Z super characters to utterly bizarre crossovers with the likes of SpongeBob SquarePants and John Wick. Dude,
Nice.
the game is so cracked. So the fact that they're, like, officially announcing that it's gonna be coming back, dude, I'm so excited.
Uh,
Um, let's see what this I'm actually let's read some Reddit reactions to this. So
okay.
scroll down, you see this
Okay.
first GIF? It's like me and the boys when Budokai Tenkaichi 4 is
Yeah.
announced.
They're like,
Bu
yeah.
the thing is I thought Budokai Tenkaichi 4 exists.
Yeah. I don't know. Apparently not.
W
Apparently it's three.
Okay. So, maybe the most notable of those mods is Budokai Tenkaichi 4. A fan game. I didn't know that was a fan bro, I'm gonna
Bruh.
find that. I'm gonna find that tomorrow. I didn't know that. I thought Budokai Tenkaichi 4 existed. Like, I thought that was, like,
Dang.
okay. Okay, we learn
Dang.
now. Alright, let's read the Reddit post that somebody wrote. I'm 30 years old. I just saw it. I'm close to tears, no joke. My body is so pumped of joy. I just can't. 17 years since Tenkaichi 3. It's happening. I gave up on DBZ games long ago. I still know on the PS2, we thought PS3, we thought PS4 will give us anime like fights. You know, kid, imagine. But to see that 2 gens, nothing surpassed the Budokai and Tenkaichi games was a disappointment. Okay, Fighter Z was great, but it's pure fighting game, albeit the best graphics ever. but it's not the old itch. It reminded me of the PS1 DBZ games, which is true. You don't know what I mean when I say Budokai Tenkaichi, man. You don't know. For me, at this age group, this game, bro, this is all aligning. I told you, I was like, I'm gonna emulate games again to play
Yeah,
Budokai Tenkaichi 3. That was
yeah.
like the main thing I said. And what's happening? 2 days later, they're like, by the way, we're gonna launch a new Budokai game, Budokai Tenkaichi game.
Everyone's like, yeah, and I trust. I have a lot of friends that are huge into Dragon Ball, and they play all the games, and every time it's kind of like Fighter Z was like he said, Fighter Z was like, okay, this isn't bad, but like
Yeah, it's not bad.
it's all just kind of been like, for the most part, like the other games have just been kind of mediocre since, and so
Oh
it
yeah,
sounds like there's actually a good Dragon Ball game coming up.
bro. Xenoverse 2 was really good. Like Fighter Z, that was a fun game, but when I tell you that Budokai Tenkaichi was the game, that
Yeah,
took like the fighting genre to me to a whole new level. And just if you're a big fan of Dragon Ball Z, and even GT, they had some characters there too. And it's like if you're a fan of that, it's gonna blow your mind, man.
yeah.
Like if you're a Dragon Ball fan, you have to play this game. It's amazing.
uh, I mean,
So I'm very much excited. As you can tell, I'm pretty geeked.
dude, do we see Budokai Tenkaichi at Evo, the next Evo, dude? Do we see it? Do you think it's that level of
Oh,
like? Do you think it's like a tournament style fighting game? I guess is my question. I think it's
I
kind of
don't.
just like a hop on and just mess around.
All right, I know people that were absolutely cracked, and I know there was local tournaments for it. I don't know if it's at that level of Evo. I think Evo's its own
Okay.
thing. I
Yeah.
think Evo is its own thing in terms of competitiveness, in terms of cultural impact, because of the Dragon Ball level IP and how mainstream it is.
Yeah.
I think that will carry it to whatever. I think it'll be smart for Evo to include it
Okay.
because it'll
Okay.
give more props to Evo.
Yeah.
Like I would argue might be a hot take, but I would argue that Dragon Ball is bigger than Evo itself. I don't think very many people know about
Okay.
Evo,
I mean, yeah, that's a good
but I
point.
think everybody knows about Dragon
A lot
Ball.
more people definitely know about Dragon Ball for sure.
Yeah, that's what I
Yeah.
think. So, yeah, as you can tell, I'm super excited. Have you ever seen or played or have you even heard about Dragon Ball Budokai Tenkaichi before I even talked to you about it?
To be honest, like I said, I probably saw gameplay of it, but I didn't know it was Budokai Tenkaichi. I just probably thought it was like a really like sick looking like Dragon Ball game. But
Yeah.
so I'm sure I've seen
I
it
s
before, but
I sent you the intro theme music.
yeah.
I posted it to Twitter.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm happy that Dragon Ball might be getting a decent game, albeit kind of the older formula, but they know it worked, so why not? You know,
Not, dude.
I mean,
Don't
dude,
fix what
you,
ain't broken.
you have a community here too that's modding and trying to just like keep the game alive too. It's like doing the
This is
fans a
new to me,
favor,
man.
you know.
This is new to me. I had zero clue that was happening. So I'm beyond excited to go figure out that situation.
Play SpongeBob and Budokai Tenkaichi.
Dude, that'd be so
Imagine,
cracked.
dude, kind of crazy.
See
I wonder if there's
Budokai
a Shrek
Tenkaichi
mod.
4.
They got Shrek.
Oh, probably,
They got
dude. We can
Shrek in
figure
this.
something out. We can figure something out. I just hope it's more successful than whatever the heck was going on with multiverses.
Yeah, I know.
That's where I'm
Dude,
at.
99% of the player base is gone. Rest in peace.
Yeah, absolutely tragic.
Yeah. All these
Yeah.
fighting games, dude, just losing. But you know what's not to lose? God, Tenkaichi.
Oh, that's right. That's absolutely right.
Oh, that's right.
All right, enough of Dragon Ball. Hit us with the next article, Kyle.
It's time to talk about some IRL stuff. IRL video game related stuff. I pulled this article from The Wire, or The Wired. I gotta add the D at the end there. Pulled this article from The Wired. It's about some kind of IRL, I guess like I want to say like almost augmented reality style of games. So immersive video games are coming to a theater near you. The founder of the Tough Mudder, which I actually have heard of before. It's like the
Oh yeah, Tough Mudder's actually
yeah.
super fun.
Yeah, founder of the Tough Mudder's next venture is an interactive game box, affectionately called a theme park in a box. So it's pretty interesting. Well, I won't. The article is pretty lengthy. I did read it beforehand. But yeah, it kind of just talks about like the business model, kind of what's the plan, like But I'll go over sort of I'll just kind of try to go over highlights and kind of where this all started. So there's essentially these game boxes. Is the way they're called. Let me make sure I find the right article here. So Immersive Gamebox is the name of it. It's a name of the actual cube itself where they play games. It's a it says there's a British company that makes it. The box started rolling out in 2019 in London. They've since expanded to play centers, malls, movie theaters. They're now in 20 U.S. markets. So you could find these across Dallas, San Jose, Denver, Salt Lake City, New York City, tons of others. This is set to expand to 100 other locations. Will Dean, previously co-founded Tough Mudder, the Tough Mudder obstacle course event company, said that this is a sophomore startup, and he's looking to do something similar involving group play, but in the tech space. He said, I became really interested in the idea of taking the dynamics of a video game, which is an individual versus the environment, and creating something that's all about team bonding. I think I'm good at understanding what makes things fun, and we live in an age where, unfortunately, technology isn't bringing us together in the ways it might have 15 or 20 years ago. Dean says he looked at VR, but he felt that it wasn't collaborative enough. Instead, he began building off inspiration from tech like the original Nintendo Wii to start working on a smart game room that would use projection, motion tracking, and LiDAR, which I think is how you say that.
Yeah,
the first prototype made in 2018 was a version of Pong with two players moving around the room, functioning as the paddles, which sounds pretty interesting. He said it was super basic, but it was fun, and I think people enjoyed it. The company then began working to raise capital. As investors got interested, they built a model of putting out easy-to-assemble game rooms that they could build locations around or franchise to others. Dean began calling a theme park in a box. The company has built its own original games, but also partnered with companies like Netflix and Rovio to do licensed versions of existing IP. First U.S. location at Grandscape and Entertainment Complex in Dallas was set up by a separate team and operated remotely, as the London team was stuck overseas due to pandemic restrictions. He said it was frankly quite petrifying. Anyways, so you kind of like get a little bit of backstory there. But how these actually work. So at first glance, the interactive game box looks like it's made up of giant screens on the inside, but they're actually simply white walls onto which a projector in the ceiling casts images. Cameras in the corners pick up movement from sensors on the visors worn by each player. Those movements can be interpreted as interactive inputs, such as jumping on a specific spot in the room or touching a spot on the wall, as if the games were responding to button presses. The games are set up and run by an employee outside of the cube using an iPad or web interface, but they can also be run and monitored from an off-site location. So there's some images too in the article. It looks pretty interesting to see, just like the projections. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty. I think it's pretty smart. It's kind of just white walls, and you have like the game projected on these walls, and then like how the user actually interacts with the walls. It's picked up by cameras, so they can see where they touch and everything. I love this concept too, and the article goes on a little bit more. And at least so how it works is that 2 to 6 players check on an iPad. They sign some safety waivers and they enter the cube. Each player wears a different colored visor that corresponds to their on-screen avatar, and the games last anywhere from 15 to 60 minutes. An hour of gameplay costs about $30 to $35, depending on the location. The games are for ages 5 and up. They have titles like Shaun the Sheep, Champion Sheeps for the kids out there. They also have Temple of Coins, just catered more towards families. But they also talk about in this article a Squid Game style game for adults. So it's kind of like you go through all the Squid Game trials. So there's a lot of like little stuff like that, but this is certainly an interesting way to do things. And like the hats or the visors look so funny because they got like these like antenna, like they almost look like a fish, like on the actual antennas. But yeah, I mean, I love this concept. And when I hear like, oh, it's anywhere from 15 minutes to an hour, you get a certain time, I immediately think of like almost like an escape room type vibe where it's like you go to like these places and you just get like an hour to 2 hours to try and like do stuff as a team and like interact with people. It's kind of like that, but this is like more of kind of a video game style. And yeah, I mean, they go on to say at a theater in North Antonio, there's 2 game boxes in operation. There's one like at the side of a bowling alley, one at a full bar outside with the movie screen areas. They pretty much just talk about, this is kind of where they are. In some cities like Chicago, they have as many as 11 game rooms in the same location. And the idea is that, and the way Dean kind of explains it is like the idea is to kind of franchise this out. So similar, I kind of think about this in like Mr. Beast burgers, how like Mr. Beast like franchises out his burger joints to all these other places and just sends them the supplies to do it. They just pay that and then they just take revenue. That's kind of the idea here. They just like companies will buy the packs. He goes into pricing and stuff too. It's it's pretty crazy because the game box offers its tech as a franchise, requiring close to $50,000 in investment funds, about $360,000 for the hardware per unit, according to the company's website, plus marketing, booking, and other fees. It also does some partnering with companies who share revenues on the games. So it's quite a bit of an upfront cost, but the idea is that you make it back fairly quickly. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think this is pretty cool. I'd certainly be down to check something like this out. They're say his goal is he wants to see this at over 1,000 sites. He even said like you can. He also had an idea of possibly using this for like work training in the future, so you can like see it at like work sites and stuff like that once they figure out the tech. But yeah, he said his idea is he wants to see the gyms, airports, cruise ships, even at WeWorks, seeing like the WeWork buildings. Maybe see some in there too.
Yeah, that would work.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of plans for this. I spit a lot of info. I need to know what you think, Mike. Is this something you would want to participate in?
Your original like comparison about how it's similar to an escape room. I did a quick Google, right? So let's just break this down. So most games for an escape room in 2022, according apparently the average escape room prices at escaperoomtips.com is between $33 and $39 per person. And the going rate for this you mentioned was anywhere from 30 to
35.
35. Yeah, so that basically fits in right around there. So
Yeah.
I feel like that's a really fair price if it's similar to an escape room. To be honest, I'd be more interested in going to an interactive game setup like this, but I'm biased. I've been playing games forever.
Yeah.
And we're a game podcast, so I think most people would think that. But in a way, escape rooms are a game.
Yeah, for
So,
sure.
well, not even in a way, it is by literal definition. It's just not like a video game.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I did a quick check to see their locations as well. They got a couple in Colorado, Denver,
Yeah.
precise. Like they have several in California. They have a lot coming to Atlanta. Illinois is on this list for Chicago, Salt Lake City, Arlington. Like basically, Texas, as all things that's gaming related, has like 18 different. Not 18. They got four, five, one, two, six. Yes, five. Sorry, five. But they're all in the same area. So Woodlands, Houston, Colony, Dallas, and San Antonio, and then they're apparently headquartered in Lower Manhattan. So I think this is pretty interesting. I think I would very much like to check it out if I'm in any of those cities. And the franchise tag, dude, that's expensive. Like you can
Yeah, it's a
get,
lot of upfront. But
yeah, you can set up like an actual fast food restaurant for less than that,
probably.
um, with property. So it's kind of wild that franchise tag is so high, but I think it's not a bad idea. I think this is very interesting, and to see it in an airport, dude, I would 100% check that out.
All right.
In a gym, like
Yeah,
what's the
depending on the
biggest
use case,
gym?
right? Like,
Yeah,
is
like
it game
what?
related? Is it something else? Like, what is the use in a gym setting? Kind of thing.
Yo, that's actually a good point. I would be cracked at Wii Sports
I,
if you said
that'd be
that.
kind of sick. Like, I'm not gonna lie, if they had like some.
Connect, wasn't there like a Connect workout thing
Yeah, I
too?
think there was.
Like
There's like
Zumba and stuff?
Zumba. Yeah.
Yeah, Zumba was the big one. But I think
Yeah.
that was also on Wii. It doesn't matter. There's definitely potential for this to be in multiple different scenarios. On a cruise ship, that would be like number one. That should be the first thing that they do. So
Yeah, I mean, I could see cruise lines eating this up. But
easily,
see,
man,
the thing is
easily, all
that
included.
yeah, I mean, there's an opportunity
GG's.
for like cruise lines to do it. My biggest thing, this is the perfect partnership. You ready? We're talking, what's the name of it? Interactive Game Box. We're talking Interactive Game Box X Dave and Buster's. Match made in heaven right there.
Oh
Dude,
my
you get a Dave and
god,
Buster's, bro. Money. You know what I'm saying?
dude!
I
Yeah,
was
Dave and
playing
Buster
that.
would be good.
Uh,
There's anything related to like the go-kart places. If you go to
no.
go-karts anywhere, they always have those like game studios, and they always have like old like arcade games.
Yeah.
That 100% would be good. They also have putt putt. So
Yeah. There you go.
Dude, that would be a vibe. That would be great,
Yeah,
actually.
yeah, dude. Telling you, there's
Land
I'm
centers.
saying like I see a lot of places where this could work. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'll be curious to
Get the
see how it goes.
yeah. Yeah, we need to go check it out. We need to make a trip down when they open up in Atlanta.
Yeah,
There's
it'd be
good
pretty
food there.
sick. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I haven't been to Atlanta in a very long time, so I want
Yeah.
to go back.
Uh, on the real, I think you're more likely to get one than I am.
You
Being
think so?
yours, yeah, you got a bit of a tourist hub going on there. This would be perfect for tourist areas, like laser tag areas. You
Yeah,
guys got a ton of laser tag places down there, don't
it's
you?
true. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah, we don't have none of that here. We have just a bunch of, like, college kids, new professionals drinking and throwing, what are they called? Like, not daggers, not ninja stars, but, like, the chop
Darts,
block. Not darts. No,
axes,
that axes. Yes,
axe throwing,
axes was the word.
axe
Axe throwing.
throwing.
There's, like, axe throwing everywhere here.
Yeah.
Axe throwing in breweries. Welcome to the South. Like, that's basically what we got going on.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to this. I think there's a lot of potential. I wanna check this out,
yeah,
really.
for sure. Yeah, yeah. If I'm ever in an area, it's probably something. If I remind myself, I'm definitely gonna see if I'm near one.
Yeah.
Like, be a fun thing to do.
VR is the future, man.
Yeah,
I
and
would
this is
just like
even
to play
technically VR.
Pong.
Yeah, right.
I would just like to play Pong,
Just
dude.
gonna be the battle.
Just like
Be like, no, no.
like rolling back and forth with your arms.
Yeah, right. That'd be funny.
Yes, sir.
Uh, you know what's not funny though, Mike? You know what's
Oh
not
my
funny? You know what's
gosh.
not funny, bro?
Dude. I love can I just get a shout out to my boy Kyle Heath for giving me my favorite topics. He didn't have to do it, but he did it. We talked about Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi. Now we're gonna talk about oh my gosh, we're gonna be talking about CS:GO Dose, the
Two.
sequel. I didn't think Valve could do it. I thought they were too busy making that sweet, sweet money on Steam. But apparently, this actually might happen. I don't believe it really, but everybody keeps talking about it, so we got to talk about it.
Yeah,
So this article is from Inverse, which this is the first time we've ever covered Inverse.
I think
It's
so.
pretty
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Joseph Yaden, probably.
I'll
Yeah,
take it.
yeah, let's go for it. So, supposed Counter-Strike 2 leaks indicate a sequel is imminent. What to know? So, a new Counter-Strike built on the Source 2 engine could be in the works. Valve has a rich history in making beloved games, including Half-Life, Portal, Left 4 Dead. One of its most popular games is an online first-person shooter, Counter-Strike Global Offensive, which launched in 2012 and became a hit with esports community. I think it's kind of wild that this man wrote an article like you don't know what Counter Strike is.
It's yeah. Like,
You know what I
bro,
mean?
do you know what's even crazier, dude? We're at year 11 of CS:GO. Like, what, dude? This is
Dude,
like,
they just hit their all-time highest
dude.
live active players
There's still over a million players
again.
daily. Daily a million players. It's one of the
That's
few
so
games that actually does it.
crazy.
Wild.
It's so crazy. So when people let me get I'm about to hurt somebody's feelings. If you're out here saying that modern shooters need to have all these different sprint mechanics, these clambers, these like crazy wild functionalities, like you need to be Titanfall grappling across the map because it needs to be modern, like it needs to be great for having a modern feel of movement to be successful. Look at Counter-Strike. It's been the same game for 11 years. They're chilling.
Still dominates, dude.
Crushing it.
You're trying to
When
make all
it's
these.
not broke, don't try to fix it, man.
You're trying to make all this advanced movement, shake up the industry and all that. Dude,
Yeah, and speed lines and crap. Like,
just make a tactical shooter. What are we doing? Like,
just stop, man. Just stop.
come on. Valorant still doing well. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I like
it's crazy.
Valorant. Valorant's
Yeah.
cool. Valorant's cool, but I mean, like Counter Strike. I mean, you're just a knockoff Counter Strike with
just
super. I don't
that we're
care.
not.
Sorry.
Look, CS:GO walked so Valorant could sprint down the finish line, Mike. You know what I'm saying?
Does Valorant actually have more players than CS:GO though?
Nah, no chance.
No chance,
I
right?
would no chance.
Like no chance,
Taking the under on that. There's no way.
bro.
That
Counter
Valorant
Strike
has
is
more players.
like Counter Strike's on a different level to the point I showed you guys. I'm a big Simple fan. First of all, we talked about
Yeah.
like who's the best
Uh-huh.
shooter of all time,
Yeah.
FPS player of
Yeah.
all time. Um, when they were doing Brazil Major in Rio, and you got the players that their aim is literally trembling because the crowd turned the entire arena into a soccer stadium, sorry, football stadium, and they're screaming, chanting. It's like the level of intensity on main stage is just unmatched. And you only
Um,
get that in like high level esports, super popular games. And CS:GO is one of those.
That's one of
Um,
those.
Anyways, I'm done nerding. Let's get into it. So, since then, Valve has supported it tremendously, but now it seems like a full-fledged sequel may be in the works. Referred to as Counter-Strike 2, this new supposed sequel aims to change things from the previous entry in major ways. Here's what we know about the supposed Counter-Strike 2. So, is CS:GO 2 in development? Before diving into the leaks and reports, it's important to note that Valve has yet to officially confirm that the existence of Counter-Strike 2. And having said that, there's evidence to suggest that it's in the works and that it's been for a while. Still, until we hear official word from Valve, nothing is set in stone. So, there is a possible CS:GO release window. Much of the information about Counter Strike 2 comes from the Counter Strike journalist, Richard Lewis. Do you know who Richard Lewis is?
I've heard of that name plenty of times.
Yeah, my man's been covering forever.
Yeah.
So he published a lengthy report recently with the highlights of what to expect for the sequel. Lewis reported that an anonymous source with knowledge of the game's development said that Counter Strike 2 has been in the works for some time and that a beta will go March or April in 2023. We're talking less than
We're
2 months,
literally
brother.
getting we're getting it
2 months.
this month, maybe?
2 months.
Mayhaps.
Yep. It goes, a release date for the full game is unknown, but we could very well see an early version of it within the coming weeks. CS2, or sorry, yeah, well, CS2 really. CSGO 2 leaks. But what else do we know about Counter Strike 2? According to Lewis, Counter Strike 2 will run on the Source 2 engine, which will vastly enhance the game's visuals and performance. That is likely to come at a cost of performance for players with low end PCs. I mean, come on, guys.
To
You're
be
not going to be
expected.
running on toasters forever like
Um,
CSGO can. Although Valve's historically has always had a philosophical of sorry, has always had a philosophy of empowering those with everyday gaming rigs to be able to play their games. Elsewhere in the reports, Lewis sources said the game will include 120 tick rate servers.
128 take, baby.
Woo!
Get that gunny.
Holy crap. We're up there, which will allow for faster processing and that matchmaking will be improved for all. Apparently, Counter Strike 2 is ready to go, according to a source. Lewis mentions that it's unclear if Counter Strike 2 will replace the original or if they'll exist alongside one another. Yeah, like, I don't know how I feel about that. What do you think?
Yeah.
Should they exist
Mm, yeah, I don't know. That's the thing.
alongside?
Like, if you're gonna make a sequel, then I would say you'd want to run with that as your like main as your main competitive game. But I guess it just depends on the reception. Um, I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
it's because it's the thing. I feel like it would make sense to do a Counter Strike League and a Counter Strike 2 League. I like or a Counter Strike Go 2 League. I don't know. I just feel like it would make sense to me, but then again, I don't know. CS has been it has been cooking in the oven for 11 years, so maybe it's time to put in a new batch. You know what I'm
Yeah, maybe cooking. They've been sleeping, I think.
saying?
I'm just excited it's actually going on. Uh, so there's a reference to a Twitter post from somebody named Gabe Follower, and let's see if this is reputable. Okay, 74.6 thousand followers. Okay, this might be something.
Okay.
Um, yeah. So his tweet is something weird just happened. Latest NVIDIA drivers introduce support for unknown app executables called CSGO 2.exe and CS2.exe. Why project uh why project is called Counter-Strike 2 and what are you cooking? Oh, that's a weird
Yeah, it's
tweet.
sentence. I don't know.
That's
I don't know if English is first language, but it's fine. You know.
yeah, I don't know how I feel. I think it's pretty interesting how they got him.
Yeah.
I need to actually figure out this download. It's apparently called the NVIDIA Profile Inspector. So whenever they do a driver update,
Yeah.
you can actually see what they actually pushed the update for.
Yeah.
And that's really smart to have the ability to actually see new games coming out because they're
Yeah,
obviously going to update the software before the games are released.
yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah, it seems like a new game. It seems like it's engine, or Source 2 engine. I know that Valve really hasn't had a new time, it feels like.
Mm,
Um,
yeah.
it's pretty cool, man. I'm excited for it. How do you feel?
Yeah, I mean, look, they haven't had a game in a while. I think it's
That's fact.
we're entering year 11, I guess, at this point in CS:GO. I think it's about time we get a sequel of some sort. And like I think CS:GO's had an amazing run, arguably the best probably for any esport. It's literally the longest game I feel like that's ever been like consistent. And the fact
Yeah.
that it still pulls numbers to this day, is just a testament to how popular Counter Strike is and how popular it always will be. I think. Yeah, if they release a second game, it's gonna bang unless it completely sucks. But I don't know if they've been working on it for some time. I think has a very low chance of sucking. So I don't know. I'm excited for it. I'm excited to see what this comes to be, and it's about time Valve takes their beloved IP and does something new with it. So hopefully they don't change the formula too much. I can't imagine they would. I feel like for the most part it would just be, obviously they'd probably change some guns around, but it would mainly just be like graphical enhancements for the most part. Just kind of make it a little more modern.
I think the best thing that Counter-Strike 2 could do is increase the tick rate, which it is alleged in this
Yeah.
article to go to 128. That's really good. Up the graphics, obviously going to be great.
Yeah.
And then just a higher tick rate, better performance just in general, have a new engine where everything looks good, operates good, textures, quality, blah, blah, blah. But I think they need new maps. They need well balanced, well made maps and add maybe a couple of different game types. I don't know what that would be. I'm not even gonna try to theorize what that could be, but just
Yeah.
to add a little bit of extra flair to it, because Counter Strike is kind of a casual game in some aspects. Like you still have to be skilled to enjoy it, but if
Right.
they can
Yeah.
add a couple of different like modding features, open source, maybe something going on, it could really take off, man. Like, just think about it right now. What are the best shooters realistically? I think Halo's dead. I think Call of Duty is struggling to stay alive. I think Valorant is just only successful because CS:GO has been out for so long
Yeah.
and people wanted
New
something
thing.
new.
Yeah.
Yeah, it still plays like Counter Strike. It's based on the same type of play style,
Yeah.
but you have special abilities
Yeah.
now.
Counter Strike with abilities, essentially.
Yeah, that's not for everybody. So, what do you think could possibly deter people away from playing Counter Strike 2? Like nothing, right?
Yeah, I mean, nothing, unless like I said, unless they change.
Apex?
I mean I don't know, unless they
Nah,
change the
not
base
really.
formula, like, drastically and they ruin it, which,
Yeah,
I mean, it's possible, but I don't think it's likely. Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be, I think it'll be just as popular, if not more popular than CS:GO, which is
yeah.
crazy to even think about, but,
Oh, it's
could be.
definitely, dude. This is gonna pop off because I'm a big fan of Counter Strike. I still watch the games, the matches periodically, and I always tune in every now. I still watch like Counter Strike videos every now and then. If I told you, but I still.
Yeah.
So if you get people like me that grew up playing Counter Strike, playing like Quake, and we want to get back on the game because Counter Strike 2 comes out, it's like, dude, could, it's gonna be insane. You went to HCS Raleigh
Yeah,
for the release of Halo Infinite, the first event.
yeah,
There were so many people that came back that first played Halo 2.
yeah.
Like, I saw people that
OGs.
I hadn't seen in, like, 10 years or more.
OGs,
I
baby.
saw people where we were just, like, call each other, like, point across the room, just like, "Is that so and so?" And just like, and then they point at me, it's like, "Mike?" It's like
Yeah, yeah.
having those interactions. Imagine that with Counter-Strike,
Bringing
but it's
people
been the
back.
most popular game arguably ever.
Yeah, for
Like,
real.
it's gonna be crazy, dude. It's gonna be crazy.
Yeah, it's gonna be
So,
wild, man. I can imagine that first event for CS for Counter Strike 2. Be nuts, dude. Pop
I'm so
off.
excited. It's gonna break records. You know how we were talking about, like, Steam records
Yeah,
for, Elden Ring?
yeah,
And also for, what was the other one that just popped off? Hogwarts Legacy.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So the next big pop off is definitely going to be CS, like Counter-Strike 2.
Yeah.
So,
You already know someone 1G's gonna be on it. Day one. He's gonna be
oh,
leading the charge. You already know.
1000%.
I already know,
One,
bro.
the return to Summit. That's what's going to happen. You know what's going to be funny, dude, is playing he's going to end up playing with like Tim the Tatman
Yeah.
or any of those guys he used to just grind with. He's going to have to hard carry everything.
Yeah. Yeah,
My dude's
yeah.
cracked at Counter-Strike.
No, for sure. Looking forward to it, man. The beta this month would be nuts, dude. It pop off. So it's good to get those surprise betas. Even though unfortunately this may not be, if it does happen, it won't be as much of a surprise, but still be pretty sick.
It's going to be wild, man. Just
It'll be
if you need me,
insane.
if you need me in the next week, I'll be playing Budokai Tenkaichi 4 because
And
apparently that's real. So I'll
CS,
see you
know,
then.
CS2 next week. I already know.
Yeah. Facts. That'd be insane, dude. I'm so excited.
A lot of stuff on the horizon. Good episode. Good week, you know. A lot of stuff going on.
It has been a good week. Yeah.
You know,
Dude,
personally could, you know, maybe some stuff could have, you know, not happened. Could have gone better, but, you know, gaming wise, it's been great.
gaming wise, everything's great, man. It's always great. There's
Yeah.
some things you get a little bit upset about here and there, but in the end, there's always a new game on the horizon. There's always new
Yeah.
content coming around the field, the corner. but
Yeah.
whatever, man.
Yeah.
Do we have anything else to add? I think we covered everything. I think that's
Yeah.
the main topics, the main story headlines. We got Starfield, we got CS:GO 2, Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 2, or next 4. Are they gonna do 4? That's gonna be the interesting part. They're gonna call it 4 even though there's a month.
Yeah, I don't know. Be weird.
Yeah. Yeah, but the big thing is obviously the showcase for Starfield, CS:GO, and I'm looking forward to it, man. I think that's really all we got to say.
Yeah, that's it. I know we're way over too, so you know, gotta give
Oh
people
yeah,
their time back. You know what I'm saying?
we're so over. Let's let the people go. Thank you guys for tuning in. This has been for season 4. We definitely appreciate you listening. If you want to follow us on Twitter, you want to join the Discord, we drop pretty much all the news articles that we see in the description and also in the Discord. So if you guys see stuff that you do like, check out, let us know. Yeah, check the description below. We appreciate you for tuning in. I'm MadMikeWillEatU, Kyle Heath, and we're just gonna let you go. Have a good one. See
Thanks
you
for
next
listening,
week.
everybody.
See
Bye.
ya.